You are about to participate in a great adventure. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind.
With the emergence of global internet, a human population of several billions, an electronic noosphere, that we are now within the shadow of this transcendental object at the end of time.
I find it a little difficult to say what the subject matter is going to be, because
Logic is an enemy and truth is a menace.
Shake and bake, steps back, three-pointer, bang!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the hottest show in the cosmos, the Midnight Variety Hour, hosted by me, Tom, and my lovely co-host.
Your boy Adam.
And we are back after we took a week off for Thanksgiving. And It was, I think, I don't want to say it's needed because I never feel like I need to take a break from this show, but it was kind of nice just to not have the pressure of like, oh, what are we going to talk about this week or who are we going to have on? We just celebrated Thanksgiving and it was nice. How was your Thanksgiving? Mine was...
Yeah, it was nice. I spent my Thanksgiving in Rockport near Corpus Christi, I think it is. And
yeah, I saw the pictures. It looked like you guys had a great time.
Yeah, we're just hanging out we had a little beach house. We had a deck. Got to sit out on the deck, have the ocean breeze coming in. And if you don't know Texas, it was like 70-something degrees, so it was great weather. It's not cold at all. So
did you have rain? Because we had rain here.
No, but I did. I know like Thanksgiving Day it didn't rain, but I think after a couple days after it started to rain out there. But I left before that, so I came back here and had Thanksgiving with my wife's side of the family. So
nice.
Yeah, it was nice, man. It was nice.
Yeah, we had everybody. So normally, Thanksgiving, we all go over to one person's house. Usually it's my aunt's house, or sometimes we'll go up to Dallas and do it at my uncle's. This year was at my parents' house, which it's never been there before. So it was like the most people that have ever been in my parents' house. It was crazy, but we had a really good time. And it was just nice to be around family,
Yeah.
So anyway, I sound a little weird today because I'm just getting over a cold. I hate the way it sounds when I'm congested. I just feel like, oh, I don't sound like myself. I already don't like the way I sound, but
Right.
anyway, so if you guys are listening to this and you're like, who the fuck is this weird nasally dude on the podcast? It's me. Sorry. It's me, your boy. But so we're talking about family and, stuff like that, and it kind of ties into this question we wanted to talk about today. What is the purpose of life? And what does it mean to live a good life? And we always talk about topics that we try to dive, deep into on the show, like UFOs or 9/11 or vaccines or history or, stuff like that. But it's kind of cool to take a deep concept question on its own and just dive into that question. And one of the most common questions of that variety is, what is the purpose of life? What are we doing here? What is one's aim as they move through space and time on this planet we called Earth? And I want to talk about it with you today because I think we probably have pretty similar ideas, but we probably also have some different ideas. And it's kind of nice to just be able to share that with you. So this was actually your idea to talk about this today. What made you want to jump into that?
Well, originally it was because we're just trying to think of topics for what are we going to talk about on our next show? We always like to at least come into the show with some idea of what we're going to talk about. And so the last show we did was really funny and just entertainment, purely just entertainment.
It was
value
a little stupid show just for a laugh, yeah.
Yeah, and we had a good time with it. It was fun. We got to laugh and stuff, and I was like, I love that too. But then my instinct, I guess, is a lot of times when I meet people or for the first time meeting somebody, and I usually ask deeper questions. I don't notice that I do it sometimes.
It's not a very common thing to do. It's not very, I don't want to say it's not normal, but it's definitely not the average, thing for someone just meet somebody and then
Yeah, I'll ask questions like, tell me your life story.
Right.
Or I'll be like, so where are you from? Oh, how'd you like growing up there? Or it doesn't seem deep, but then somehow.
Right.
Excuse me.
You good?
Excuse me. It's in my throat.
Oh, he's dying.
Sorry. Something got in my throat.
This is a good time to mention our sponsor, water. Ever get that coughing feeling in your throat? Well, use water. Better?
Yeah, sorry about
Nice ASMR.
that. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, we'll cut that out. But now my eyes are watery.
All right.
Anyways,
Just looks like you're getting emotional about this important
ask
topic.
people these deep questions, and I just want to know.
The Lord comes down to me and he
But,
says, dig deeper.
Yeah, no, I just like I get bored very easily with like
Small talk.
mundane conversation. I just want to know like deeper things. I want my mind to work and
Right.
my imagination to go places. Like tell me a story. Tell me. So that's how I am. Just like kind of like by nature, I guess. Just I don't know what
Yeah.
made me that way. I just am. And so I was like, what's a question we can just, I guess, ponder on and think about and discuss together that would be kind of deeper than surface level,
Right.
and make us use our minds a little bit more, and then maybe we can get a little philosophical, maybe we can just, and then we can just have fun with it too. I mean,
I'm
it's
all
not
about
like
it.
we're not trying to answer the question here. We're
No.
not trying to give people
And there's-
advice on life. We're just
Sure.
we're just purely talking about it, and we're from our situation,
Yeah.
and so yeah.
And there's also absolutely no right answer.
Right.
It's completely, up to everyone to formulate their idea of, their answer to that question. No one's answer is wrong unless your answer is like the purpose of life is to cause as much misery as possible. Like obviously, then that would be a wrong answer. But
Yeah. So well, hold on. Let's dive on that because I was thinking about that. All right. So look, some people's life purpose was sent down to them by God, right? Like a divine message.
it's like Eminem said, God sent me to piss the world off.
Well, yeah, there you go. But like, like throughout history, you think of like rulers and conquerors. Genghis Khan's a perfect example.
Yeah.
He said, God or whatever divine being it was that told him
Right.
that he was supposed to conquer the world. He was supposed to rule the world. And what did that lead to? Immense amount of suffering and pain and loss for millions of people.
Am
So
I
it's
tripping,
like-
or did he say Jesus told him?
No,
It-
I don't think it was Jesus.
I could have sworn, but it was like,
No, it wasn't Jesus.
are you sure it wasn't like the
Yeah,
Hebrew
I'm-
God?
I'm positive.
Okay.
Well, I
Or
don't
the
know.
Abrahamic God? I don't know.
It
could
might have been
sw-
the Abrahamic God.
I
but-
just remember thinking like, what? When I heard that.
Well, so they had so many different influences from different cultures because
Yeah.
of where they were in the world. So they had and that was a time period where the Catholic Church and the Pope were directly in communication with the Pope and other places, obviously China right there, and so they had a lot of influences of and so they didn't really have one religion,
Right.
but they could freely choose what they wanted to worship or what religion they wanted to follow. But maybe it was that God, but I know it wasn't Jesus.
I don't know.
But it
I
might-
just
it might
remember
have been
thinking
God.
that.
I don't know. But anyways, the point I'm saying is the purpose, some people's purpose, they say, is divinely sent, right?
Yeah.
Now, not to say that every message from a divine being is going to be something that could end up leading to suffering and pain for a lot of people, but when you look throughout history, a lot of those times have been bad. That's just one example among many. And so like when you look at someone's purpose being sent from a higher power, sometimes it can get in the way of like what is really true or what is like really reality, right?
Right.
And so it makes me think like we should think twice about what you think like is a divine message or not. Like maybe it's like an inspiration you have in that moment, but should you act upon it, or should it be something that's just purely like metaphorical, or like I don't know, but it's just interesting,
Yeah. I want to read you this quote from Genghis Khan.
Yeah.
He said, "If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you." He believed he was like the punishment of God. Wait, hold on.
Right.
All right, here's this.
Now, which God is obviously
Yeah, that's the part in question. But look at this quote. "I'm the punishment of God. If you had not committed great sins, God would not have sent a punishment like me upon you."
Yeah. So that's
What
that's
the
a great
fuck?
a great example of like that was his life's purpose, right? That's his purpose. He truly thought it
Yeah.
was his purpose to punish people, right? So
If
it's
I
like-
was a UFC fighter, that would be my nickname.
Yeah.
Tom God's Punishment Harris. That would be my fucking.
Yeah.
That's fucking
And so,
wild.
Well, so
But yeah.
another great example are all of the Crusade Wars, right? Like all of those people who fought in those wars, at least majority of them, were like, okay, this is our purpose, is to fight for God and for our message of the world and spread this religion that we think everyone should have, right? So it's like sometimes your purpose can lead to not so good things.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, of course.
And yeah.
So I mean, yeah, it like ties into the topic of like, is there inherently things that are good and bad, and like, are we supposed to try and like inherently just follow that path of good as humans on this planet? I think everyone likes to think that they are like put here to do good things, or they have a purpose that leads to some sort of good
See,
things.
Like
but
their purpose transcends good or bad, right? Because at that point, it's not about what's good or bad. It's what you think you should be doing no matter what, right?
So do you genuinely feel like, personally, do you feel like every human being on this planet has a purpose, a preordained purpose for why they're here?
Preordained? No.
You think your purpose is determined while you're alive and while you're living? You don't actually come to this earth with a purpose pre-laid out for you?
The way you're saying it, I think, I have different theories, right? So one, I think that everyone's purpose is to live their life to the fullest, whatever that means, right? So it could mean something completely different for every individual. But I think like exploring who you are as a human being, like your emotions, your spirit, your physical body, being able to push those things, or I guess explore every aspect of yourself as a human, right? Because it's like, that's what's real. Like some people say they know there's a God, right? We know there's a God, or we know there's some divine power within this universe. Some people say they know that.
Right.
Maybe they do. I don't know. But that's their experience, right? So, but I think what's real, at least through my experience and through what I've just seen, what I can touch and feel and dream, and so it's like, that's my body, that's my family, that's friends, that's the earth, that's the universe, that's everything I can see and feel and touch, right? And experience. So why not explore that fully, experience all of that, learn about it, and just, be with that. That's like, I feel like, in a way, a purpose, right? Like that's like, you're here, why not experience it? That's a purpose, right? In a way, right? I guess,
So if it's not a preordained purpose, does that mean that someone can live out their life and not fulfill their purpose? Like, let's say someone just, they just coast through life doing nothing extraordinary, and they're just a couch potato, and they don't really have that many friends, and they don't go out and do anything, or they don't really have a passion. And then one day they get hit by a fucking bus on the way to buy a lottery ticket or some shit like that. Did their life not have a purpose? Like, you know what I mean? Like, or damn. Yeah. I mean, so do you think it's possible for you to go through life and just have no purpose, or to not fulfill your purpose in life?
So let's talk about, before we go there, I think we should talk about nihilism, which is like
I hate nihilism.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of nihilists out there, people who think there is no real purpose in life. There is nothing that needs to be done. There's nothing that needs to be achieved. There's really no meaning. We're just here based purely on coincidence, and it is what it is, and we can live however you so choose. However you so choose, right? So,
that's a better way to look at it. I think when most people hear nihilism, they just hear nothing matters,
right.
And really, what it means is like, do whatever you want. Don't feel like you're tied to anything that like, just go out and live like how you want to live, because like the term nothing matters seems so pessimistic and negative, but really, in all seriousness, nihilism isn't that negative, or that, that it sounds like this dark, negative, sad, morose, depressing thing, but it's not, you know?
Well, I think for humans in general, if they don't feel like they have a purpose, then I think majority of those people are going to go through some type of depression or some type of mental health. Something negative is going to be happening to their mental health, because as humans, I feel like a lot of people need or want a purpose, at least psychologically, right? Because
you just think that's something that's inherent with humans.
I think so. Whether it's like having a job that you feel like you are contributing to, or feel like you have a family that you're contributing to, or feel like you have a tribe, or whatever it is, something that's going to get you up in the morning. It's like, okay, I got to complete this task so other people can, so I can feel like I do my part to
Right.
the community or to whatever, right? And that's why I think religion is so good for a lot of people. They have their tribe, they have their people that, you know, like just a community. It's not even really about like the religion they choose. It's the people that they get to go and talk to about it, or the people they can call or whatever it is whenever they're in a bad situation, or, you know, to have a family, because like that brings you some type of meaning. Like, okay, I'm not in this alone, right?
Right.
But then you have, okay, the nihilist perspective, where it's like you can still live a healthy life being a nihilist, right? There's a ton of people who do it, and there's a ton of philosophers. Friedrich Nietzsche is probably the most famous nihilist, and
Yeah.
probably wrote the most about it. But you know, he lived, I guess you can say, a successful life, or I mean, his name is still being talked about today,
Sure.
and
by the world's common standard, you would consider that a successful life.
yeah. And so, what was the original? I forgot how we got to this point. I was gonna say something about it. Sorry, I forgot where I was going with that. But what was the original question you just asked before I went on that tangent? Sorry.
I was saying, do you think that there are people that can just live their life without
yeah.
fulfilling a purpose?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, I think so, for sure. I think people have done it because then you have to define what is purpose, right? And someone's purpose is, my purpose is I have no purpose, right? There's your purpose. But so
isn't
it's
that
like,
a bit,
you know,
not sad or depressing, but doesn't that just leave so much to be desired? The idea of, at least for me personally, that
Yeah.
breaks my heart. The idea of someone having no purpose, and
yeah.
maybe that's a very surface deep assessment, because maybe the underlying realization is that it's beautiful, and that means you can do whatever you want. You shouldn't feel tied to some sort of ordained path. But just the idea of not having a purpose, to me, at least on the surface level, is really sad, and it bums me the fuck out. The idea of someone just coasting through life with no real, meaning to why they're here, or no, thing that they want to contribute, or no, because some people like to believe that, you choose your purpose and you go, okay, this is what I want to do in my life. This is what I'm going to make my purpose. Some people believe that their purpose was laid out before them. Whatever it is you believe, I feel like the knowledge of that purpose, or wanting to have that purpose, or wanting to leave some sort of significant impact on the world because your impact matters, I feel like that's the true essence of optimism and loving life, and not having that, existing without that, just seems really sad to me,
Do you think you can be happy without a purpose, without having a purpose?
I don't know. I've thought about that because, I've thought about...
And vice versa. Do you think you can have a purpose and not be happy?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you feel like you have a purpose, but you feel like you're failing at achieving it, yeah, it probably makes you miserable. You feel like you're not doing what you're supposed to do here. But at the same time, I've thought about... So I definitely believe, there's an afterlife, and what we do here ends up translating to something after we die and stuff like that. The idea of if I was to die tomorrow and then it would just be nothing, literally just, you just cease to exist, and there's not even a microscopic level of existence anymore for your consciousness. Dude, that really, I don't know. It would take some time for me to be able to go through life happy while believing that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because then to me, I guess it would feel like, what's the point? I guess the point would be to make the most of your time while you're here and enjoy it while you're here, because soon you won't be, and then there'll be nothing.
Right.
But the idea of there just being nothing is just it seems really weird to me, and it just seems unnatural, even though it's probably the most natural thing in the world. It just, I don't know. I don't think I could be happy, or at least
Yeah.
it would take a lot of work to reacclimate my mind to that idea in order for me to be able to go through life believing that and being happy.
So I think that is majority of the Western world's perspective of reality, is that there is nothing. There is no God.
You think the majority?
Yeah, I think
No.
a lot of people, I think church, like no one's really going to church anymore. I think what science, what the dogma of science has done, like the saying everything's mechanical, everything is happened here through the Big Bang. Like the ideas that science has brought upon people and literally stripped the world of like God and spirit and consciousness. Like a lot of science. I mean, we still have the hard problem of consciousness, which so many people are still trying to figure out. And so right now, a lot of science is still saying consciousness is created through the mind, right? And so like think about what impact those ideas have on the society. And so this brings me to how much influence does your culture have on your ideas of what your purpose is in this world?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, just to go back to, I don't think it's if it's the majority, I don't think it's an overwhelming majority. Because, I mean, I know people that aren't even religious that still believe in the concept of heaven and hell, or a good place and a bad place. I mean, look at how many hundreds of millions of Catholics there are and Christians in the Western world, I would say there's a huge hundreds and hundreds of millions of religious people. And then there are people who aren't even religious that still somehow believe in a primary concept of a good place and a bad place, And I feel like people operate morally, like people have this sort of code of morals that they're operating on, and not even consciously, but like subconsciously, they're living through that moral code under the guise of, well, this stuff correlates to bad place, this stuff correlates to a better outcome in life, this stuff correlates to a worse outcome in life. And I feel like you could say that would make up a huge portion of the population. I don't know
how many people do you think actively act upon that? Like act upon okay,
like
I want to go to when I die, I want to make sure I'm either, like you can have that belief, but how many people do you think are acting upon it?
Not as many as I would like there to be,
That's kind of what I'm getting at
sure.
Is because we're not taught to, I guess, act upon it. Like, but I'm purely talking about the Western world, because I feel like the way in which we've gone in terms of science, and the way we look at science is God now. Like I feel like science is the new God. I feel like so many people think look at the science. It's like, and so we look at science as the dominant force in reality. Like this is the reality. Reality is that
I've really started to notice that recently. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Though it's and so if people are going to look at that and then look at what our culture is pushing, it's going to be, I feel like more people are going to be more interested in their self, be more self-serving. Like their purpose is going to be more let me just make sure I'm taking care of myself, taking care of my family, and we're good. Or purely based on the fact that I don't know, it doesn't seem like there's a real reason to do good for other people, or other than for yourself. I don't know. Does that make sense?
No, I mean, I think that breeds a very selfish. I think that gives way to people living a very selfish, way of life. Just the idea of what I do to other people and the way I live and how it affects others doesn't really matter. All that matters to me personally is, the outcomes of, what it means for me, because that's the only experience I'm living. It doesn't,
Yeah.
So I feel like for society's sake, it's almost, not good for that to be such a prevalent way of thinking,
Yeah. Unless there was and that's where you bring in just basic morals, and so much of people's morals used to come from religions and ways of life, right? And but now that so many people aren't practicing, I feel like less and less. I don't know. Maybe you can pull up the stats. What are the stats of how many people, how many Christians, Muslims, I guess Buddhists were there X amount of years ago versus today? I don't know. I'm just curious to see that, because to me, then that will show so many people got their morals and their understanding of the way they should live their life through their religions or through their culture, right? And now that so many people, I feel like, aren't going to church and aren't following any certain type of path, that their morals are going to be purely based on what they choose, right? You can choose your own morals now. There's not really one dogma of anything.
Let's see if I can. Decline of religion's relevance for today. I don't really know what this is measuring. It looks like the bar on the left.
Percentage of Americans who do not believe that religion is out of date.
Percentage of Americans who do not believe. Do not. Okay, so... Oh, that chart is going down like really fast.
So decline of religion's relevance for today.
Right. Who do not believe that.
So yeah, I mean, that shows you what, 1994, and that's very recent today. That's only.
So as the percentage
years.
gets lower, more people believe religion is out of date.
Yeah, and that's only 20.
Yeah.
That's only 20 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think that's the case around the world too. You know,
Let me try and find a. I didn't really know what to type in. I just typed in chart of amount of religious people over time.
That's fine. I just feel like through my experience and through what I've heard other people talk about is that the amount of people who believe in God is just declining over time. You know,
Look, this is just one church, but this is a chart of the Church of England confirmations between 1872 and 2009.
There you go. Yeah, I mean, so I think that's pretty standard across the board, right? It's
Sure.
just decline of people going to church, decline of people believing in God and religion, right?
Yeah.
So, I only brought that point up to say that we're talking on the subject of purpose is that when that's gone, whenever your culture and society isn't pushing any more values or religions on you, or you're not, like, no one is required to go to church anymore. Like, I guess I feel like further back in the day, even like 30 years ago, 40 years ago, people were like, "You're not going to church? What's wrong? You okay?
Yeah.
You're not going to go to your local
It was
church?
just
Like you got to go
like,
to your local church, you know?"
Yeah.
It is what it was, you know. And now that's not the case. It's like, oh, you
It
don't
was
go to
just
church,
like
perfectly fine.
It was just a thing that was known. You go to church.
yeah. And now it's not. Right now it's not. It's
I'm gonna
the
stay
norm.
home and watch NFL Sunday
It's
kickoff.
the norm not to go to church, and that's purely America, obviously, and whatever Christian, obviously. But
It's like when someone tells you they go to church, it's like, oh, you go to church? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, that's interesting. Not a lot of people do that anymore. Yeah.
there you go. So that was only the topic of like how your culture influences your purpose in life, right? Because if your culture isn't influencing anymore, or if it's influencing you in a way of non-religious or spiritual paths, then what is it, right? Science? Is it self? I don't know. Like, so it's just interesting to think about. And I guess moving away from that a little bit is like, then what are we gonna do? Because here's what I think for a lot of people is like we're so saturated with media, with our phones now.
Constantly,
today, right now, like we talked about this a lot in this podcast, is like now we're so saturated. It's like now I feel like a lot of people don't even think about their life purpose anymore. It's like purpose. Oh, damn, I hadn't even thought about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm just trying to figure out
Let's see what's on TikTok. Yeah.
or what's going on with COVID, or what's going on with politics or whatever. You know,
Who's
so
Jake
it's like,
Paul fighting next? Yeah.
you know, so it's like, but you know, when I think about it, I keep coming more to like the fact that, like I really want to be, for my purpose. This is purely my opinion and the way I thought about it. For me, was that everything that I've looked at and I've researched. I love history. I love looking in different religions and things. So like my personal perspective, I like to take little things from everything I learned from, like, oh, I like that. Let me take that in my life. Let me see how, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I like to do that. And for me, it's like, all right, how can I be the best person I can be for myself and for everyone in my life, right? And even the planet I live on, right? And for me, that's being the most loving, kind, and compassionate person I can be. right? Whatever that means for me. So, because I feel like if I can do that for myself, then ultimately that's going to radiate to everybody, right? And it's going to radiate to the people in my life. Like, people are going to feel that. People are going to know I'm trying to come from a good place. And ultimately, that's going to bring me a sense of, like, peace, a sense of, like, I'm doing something that's not going to harm anybody. I'm doing something that's only going to bring more love into people's life and help people feel good. Because there's already too much shit
Right.
that people have to go through. There's so much shit everyone is going through. Nobody needs a negative person in their life. Nobody needs another thing to worry about or something to, so it's like, how can I be that? How can I be that, like, I guess a good metaphor would be like a light in people's life. Like, I just want to, like, spread light, like, spread love,
Yeah.
and spread that through people. And it's like, that's a good purpose, because I feel like for me, because, like, then it's not like, all right, my purpose is to become a great basketball player or to become an
My
artist
purpose is
or
to
like,
get buckets.
my
Yeah.
purpose is to make a lot of money. My purpose is to be
Sure.
successful. My purpose is to be all of these things that are, like, I guess, material based. And if you can have a purpose that's non-material, that's more like, I guess, self, like becoming, like, your better self or becoming something internal. Like, I feel like that's a purpose that is going to be hard to, like, fail at.
Yeah.
More so than, or not. It's not even really about being a failure more than it is about knowing that you can achieve it no matter what, because it's something that you have control of, not anybody else. Right?
Right.
I don't know. It's just kind of some thoughts I had on it.
Yeah, I mean, and all of those factors are a huge part of what I want to strive to achieve in my own life. Like, I definitely am all about adding more kindness to the world, adding more compassion, trying to be, a light in the darkness. I think my Instagram bio right now says something like, I think it says, don't ever stop loving humanity. Like, I just want to inspire love in humanity. And my ultimate goal, I feel like, is I just want to leave something behind, some sort of lasting effect that makes the world a better place in some form, whether it's helping the environment to be healthier, like helping out in Mother Nature somehow, or creating something like this podcast that somehow makes people happier, something like that.
Perfect. And another thing I was going to say about it too, because if your purpose is something like, all right, I want to score, or I want to get $1 million. Okay.
Yeah.
Once you reach that, then it's like, okay, my purpose is over. Your purpose is served. Right. So it's like,
Just kill yourself.
so
$1 million.
Like, so it's like so I think your purpose is never really over. Your purpose should be something that's never really achievable. Because it should be something that lives on forever.
Or a dynamic goal.
Right.
To inspire as much kindness in the world or as much positivity in the world from the time you're born till the day you die. Like something that's just open-ended. Right. As long as you're here to make the world as good of a place as possible while you're here.
Yeah. Or something that's like that, like to serve humanity. Like,
exactly.
Right. It's something that you can never fully accomplish. It's
Right.
something that's going to be constantly in motion, because like then it's like you always have something to wake up to, always to wake up and like inspire you in the morning. So that's another thing. Yeah, I guess thought about.
I think it was Jackie Robinson that said, the measure of a life is its service, And that quote has always resonated with me. The idea of, your life, whether you choose to, some people don't like to assign the idea of a good life and a bad life to, someone's time on this planet. But if you were to look at that and try and measure, like, what your life was worth, I think that's a beautiful thing to measure it by. Like, how much did you help the world while you were here,
Right.
And not everyone is in a position to help the world, but it's all about, like, doing what you can. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think you and I probably have pretty similar life goals while we're here, which is amazing. And that's why I'm glad we're doing this show together,
For sure. And I wanted to tell you something. You've already done what you said you wanted to do.
I have.
Yeah.
What, with this show?
Yeah. This show, to me, I feel like if you've inspired or if you've changed anyone's life in even a small way,
Yeah.
that's a huge accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
Because we always look at like, oh, look at what like MLK or Gandhi did. Like you think of like you want to have a big movement.
Like you think of that as, okay, what is changing the world? That's
like
what changing the world
some kind of
is.
massive change,
Right.
a massive movement. But really, it's not. Really, it's these little things. And whenever Daniele Bolelli came on, too, he was talking about history and was like, what about all the little people who weren't written about in history? What about all the people that you never hear about throughout history?
Right.
Millions, billions of people lived lives who probably made an impact in some way, whichever way that was, whether it was giving a free meal to somebody who was homeless, or whether it was like just something that's not written about in the paper, something you don't hear about, but it made an impact. It made
Yeah.
a change in somebody's life, whether you heard about it or not. And that's, it's really important, and it's a cool thing to like think about, because you don't really think about it. It's something that just goes past, but it does make a change, and it does change people's life. And like I like, because I have a problem with it too. I'm like, man, am I doing it? Like, what am I doing? Like, am I?
You feel like you're not doing enough.
Am I even doing
yeah.
something? What am I doing? But like every once in a while, like for example, one time I was like practicing yoga outside in my apartment complex area. There was like a little outdoor spot. I had like cover, and I can just roll out my mat. And I was just doing some yoga there, and someone walked past, and they're like, you know what? I've seen you practicing yoga out here a few times, and I want you to know I just started practicing. I did a few breathing or whatever, or meditation or something.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, really? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, that's amazing. That's awesome. And maybe we had a conversation for a little bit, And I was like, but if she would have never came up to me and said anything,
Right.
but still had done that, and I would have never
That impact
known.
still mattered. It's just
I just didn't know about it, right? And so it's like knowing that I still impact people's lives without ever even knowing about it is really cool,
And
Like,
everything
yeah.
has a ripple effect. It's
Right.
like, okay, you made a positive impact on that person's life. Well, then maybe they called their friend that night and they told them about yoga, and then that person started doing yoga. And then that person became in love with yoga and started their own yoga school, and they taught 500 people yoga. And it all came back to you just doing yoga outside of your little fucking apartment complex practice area or whatever. And it's like, you never know how many times ripple effect,
Right.
So
I want to say, I was saying it because you definitely have changed people's life. You've impacted my life. I know
Thanks,
you've
man.
impacted a lot of people's life. So
I
it's
hope
like,
so.
and I think everybody should know that, because it's easy to get down on yourself. You can be your worst critic. It's like, man, I'm not achieving any good goals.
Yeah.
My purpose is I'm not accomplishing my purpose or anything like that. But I look at the small things, the little things,
Right.
because those are all little wins that all add up throughout your life, and it's
Yeah, I completely agree. And yeah, I think it's important to tell people that, you're doing positive stuff for the world all the time and you don't even know that you're doing it,
Mm-hmm.
Just by existing in a positive way and trying to be kind, even if it's never acknowledged, even if, you don't ever get feedback or someone tells you like what they told you about the yoga thing, you're still causing those positive ripples. And it makes me think about this time, I think I was like maybe 18. I was driving down Highway 6, and there was this guy. There used to be this prison. It's closed now at Highway 90 or Highway 6 and 90. There was a prison there. It's not there anymore. I think it was like Fort Bend County Penitentiary or something. There was a guy who was begging outside, and I was at a red light, and I just gave him like $1 or $2 or something like that. And, like giving money to homeless people, that's like something that's extremely common. You've probably done it a million times. Like your average person does it at least a couple times over the course of their life. It's not a weird thing. But he like took this $1 and he was like, I just got out of prison today. I've been locked up for however long he said. It was like something crazy, like 15 years, 20 years. And he's like, this is my first $1 as a free man in 20 years. And I think about it every day. I'm like, I wonder where he is now. He could have that was 10 years ago. He could have a family, he could have used that $1 and like, saved it. And then he ended up, I don't know, like, he saved up and bought a suit and then applied to a job. I don't know. I mean, obviously like life isn't a fucking movie. So he probably just bought a cheeseburger with it and that was it. But I just wonder, like, that guy could be anybody now, and like, I'll never know what he went on and did with his life, but it's like literally just something that small could be such a huge thing for somebody.
Yeah.
That was that dude's first $1 in 20 years.
Right.
Or he could have murdered 5 people like the next day. I don't know. But, it's just like you're constantly doing positive things even when you're not receiving the recognition, or even when it's not overly apparent. You should still live in a way where you try to make positive change, because everything you do has a ripple effect.
Right.
So
Yeah. And on the topic of purpose, I know earlier I mentioned like one of my theories was like, it's not really my theory, it's I'm sure many people's theory, or I'm sure I heard it somewhere, but like the idea of like living your life fully, like living a full life. Like, what does that mean? Like, what do you mean full life? Like, it can be different for everybody, you know? But like, I feel like it's such a tangible purpose to have, right? Because whatever it is for you, you can be an artist, you can be radio, you can be anything, right? Whatever you're doing, you can be a stay-at-home mom. Do it to the fullest, right? Like, do it to your best ability. That's a great purpose to have, right? Like,
it is,
right? Like, because that's all you really can do, right? Like, it's not like
it's like, why would you want to live any other way?
You don't have to go be the president. You don't have to go, you know what I mean? Do some crazy shit. You don't have to go be a movie actor, superstar. No, you can just be really, you don't even have to be amazing. You can just be what you are and experience that, because that's what you are. You're a human, and we're in this experience, and you just, that's really, you just keep it simple. You know, you don't have to have anything extravagant. You know what I mean? It's like,
it's like when you're asking like a little kid what they want to be when they grow up, or what they want to do. It's so common for a kid to be like, I want to play in the NFL, or I want to be an astronaut, or I want to be the fucking president, or I want to, some insane goal that's like so lofty and, so just like the gold standard for like what you can achieve in your life. But it's like, I think we should teach kids a perfectly acceptable answer to that question. What do you want to do when you grow up? Is like, I want to spend a bunch of time in nature, go to all the national parks. Like, I feel like that answer is just as valid as I want to be the first person to walk on Mars, or I want to be the president of the United States, or something like that. It's just like...
And it's not to say there's anything wrong with having those dreams,
you should.
Right, there's nothing wrong with that.
When I was a little kid, I wanted to be a fighter pilot. I still want to be a fucking fighter pilot. But I mean, like, that's like an incredibly hard goal to achieve. But there's nothing... You should shoot for those, like, high ambitions. Yeah, you should... Every child deserves to have insanely high ambitions.
If it's going to bring purpose. Here's another thing. This is another reason why I want to talk about this, because I was thinking about this, and I don't know why I didn't bring this up earlier. But I guess I asked you, can you be happy, like, without a purpose, or be purpose, or have a purpose and not be happy? Because there's so many things in articles where you see like people talking about who are the happiest people on the planet. How can you be happy? How can you be more happy? Why aren't people more happy? It's all about happiness.
Right.
The pursuit of happiness, right?
I know. I think I saw an article recently. It was like, welcome to Finland, home of the happiest people on earth. Or it was like some country like that. Or it was, maybe it was some country in the Caribbean. I don't remember what country it was, but I just remember reading an article about some country and why these people were the happiest people on earth. Right. It's like, it's super relative, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So my thought is like, is happiness a byproduct of something else?
Yeah.
Or is happiness something that is just like, I guess, its own thing? Like, is happiness just something that you can have through success? Is it something you can have through, like, how do you achieve happiness, right?
And can you even quantify it? Is there is there such thing as happiest? Like, is my happiness doing, going on a kayaking trip with my girlfriend greater than your happiness of, you know what I mean? Like, can you even quantify or put one person's level of happiness above another? No, you can't.
Yeah. And like, I only brought that up to say, like, because so many people are striving to be happy. Like, I want to be happy. I want to live a happy life, right? But then it's like, I think maybe you should be striving for purpose, because maybe it's your purpose that brings you happiness, or maybe it's your sense of purpose that's going to make you happy, or achieving that thing is going to make you happy. And then we talked about all the reasons or all the things that your purpose can revolve around, right? And maybe that's what makes you happy, right? Not that you should just be striving purely just to be happy, because I feel like it's like, again, not tangible, something that's not really, you can't ever really just purely just strive for happiness and expect to be happy, right?
Sure,
you know what I'm saying? Like, because it doesn't seem real. Like, what seems real to me, I guess, more is like having a purpose and just living that purpose. And I guess a byproduct of that, of living that purpose, will make you happy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No,
Does that
I
make
agree.
sense? I guess.
I feel like if you set your sights on just some end goal, like some finite end goal, if you're not actively making progress towards that end goal, you're going to just feel like depressed and like you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. If your goal is something that you're living every day, despite whether or not you're in a position to achieve some sort of finite objective, it makes your ability to enjoy the mundane, everyday, day-to-day life that much greater, you know? Like if your end goal is, I want to be, you know, I don't know.
Rich. This is an easy one, right? Yeah.
When you're fucking unemployed and you're down in the dumps and you've just gotten fired and you're just like living in some little shitty apartment and you're eating fucking Vienna sausages and ramen, you're going to be depressed. You're going to fucking hate your life and you're going to think, what the fuck? Every day that goes by, I'm missing out on what I should be doing. I'm getting older and closer to dying without doing what I need to do by the end of my life. And it's like, dude, you're missing all these opportunities to really, truly be getting the most out of your life. It doesn't fucking matter, you know. I mean, I don't want to tell people what matters to them because you get to make that up. But it's just like, yeah, having that finite goal and being upset while you're not achieving it, in my opinion, is not the best way to live your life because it sets you up for being disappointed or stressed or anxious or worried that you're not, you know, doing what you were put here to do. And it's just like, just try and make the most of every single day. And if you can look back at the end of your life and you said, you know, I tried, you know, as many times as possible to live life to the fullest, that's got to be the definition of a life well lived, at least to me.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and that goes back to what we were talking about earlier for sure. And yeah, it also comes back to like the old adage of like, you know, live in the present moment, be in the moment. You know, it's so hard to do. It's so hard to do.
Yeah.
Man. It's so there's so much that goes on in your life and everyone's life. There's so many stressors and.
I mean, even as I say that, I'm totally guilty of beating myself up because I'm not where I want to be. Like today, financially and career-wise and stuff like that, there's so many things I want to achieve, and I feel like they're far away. And I catch myself like being really hard on myself about it and going, oh, you got to be doing better than this. Like, this is not where you should be. You're slacking. You're wasting time. You know, you're going to get old one day and, you know, you're going to be fucked because you didn't grind hard enough while you were young. And it's like, bro, you're going to fucking burn your brain out thinking like that all the time, you know?
Yeah. Or just knowing that it's okay. Like, it's okay to not be.
Yeah, it is okay.
It's okay. Like, everything's going to be okay. Just knowing that, like, look, I'm okay. I'm here now. I'm in this room with Tom. We're having a conversation.
Yeah.
Things may not be going the way I want, but hey, look, I'm here now. I'm healthy. Look at all the things you do have. And that's why being grateful, having thanks. We just had Thanksgiving, you know.
Right.
That is so important to that too can be a purpose. Like just being thankful every day you wake up of like what you do have and stop looking at what you don't.
I know.
Because that's only going to cause, you know, nothing but good. You know, I struggle with this, man. Like I struggle with this too of like, how much ambition should I have and how much, and then how much of like, it's like the balance of like ambition and then like being okay with where I am.
Because
like,
the world
like
tells
the balance
you,
of it, right?
If you're just okay with where you are,
right,
you're lazy or you're not grinding hard enough, or okay, complacency is only going to get you so far. Don't get complacent, you know.
Right.
It's like,
so it's like finding the balance because I do. Right, like you said, like we both have ambitions. We both have things we want to accomplish. We both have things, like everyone does. Everyone has something they want to do, right? But then it's like, okay, how much should I do that until I burn out, right? Like so many people burn out and end up being stressed and not happy. You know, we're talking about happiness, like, or should find a balance, like still put some time and energy to that, but also make sure you're being in that moment and you're not putting too much work into that one thing to where you're another part of your life, like your mental health, is suffering, right? And it's really that balance, man. It's really about finding that balance, I feel like.
I agree with you completely.
Yeah.
And I wish more people knew that. Because think about how stressed the world is today.
Yeah.
I think stress has got to be at an all-time high. You know, I mean, the amount of people that are being diagnosed right now with anxiety and depression, the amount of people that are on antidepressants, not that there's anything wrong with those things. I'm just saying, I feel like we're seeing a much higher level of people that are feeling burnt out with life, or people that are, worried that they're not where they should be. Like social media is making like 22 and 23-year-olds feel like they're,
Dude, younger than that, man.
Yeah, well, what I'm just saying, like,
Yeah.
there's people in their early 20s
Right.
that think they're a failure if
Right.
they're not already making six figures, driving an exotic car and living in like a penthouse, because they see people on social media doing it, that are like 17, 18, 19, 20, whatever, and they're going like, oh, I'm 23 and I'm not even close to that, and I'm 5 years older than this 18-year-old who's a millionaire. What's wrong with me? I'm never going to get to live like that. That's the only way I should be living. You should be a millionaire by the time you're 21. If you're not, you're a failure. So many people are thinking like that, and it's so unhealthy, and I'm so worried that it's going to lead to a generation of people that have set these insane parameters for themselves on what it means to live a good life,
It's like you're building your own prison. Like you're building a cage of like, here's what I'm supposed to be, right? Here's like what my purpose is supposed to be, right? So you're
Right.
automatically setting like a standard or a line or a cage or a box, right?
Right.
And if you're not within that, or I guess you are in that, because so like that's what it is, right? So you're setting like this trap for yourself almost of like, this is what I'm supposed to be. This is what I'm supposed to be doing, all right? If I'm not doing that, then I'm stuck. And I'm stuck here in this trap of like what I'm supposed to be doing, and you're never getting out of it, and then you're always going to live in that trap, in that cage, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, how can you step out of that? Like, realize that you've built like this cage of like unrealistic expectations, and then I feel like then everything opens up, the whole world opens up, all of these opportunities open up. You're like, well, I don't have to do that. Maybe I can just do whatever else I want. There's so many options, right? There's so many, like, especially in this day and age, man. Like, you look at like and then some people say, oh, you have to be a doctor or a lawyer or whatever, and those are your only options, right? But now in today's age, I mean, you can do anything, man. You can be a YouTuber, you can sell stuff you make online, you can do
And through being a YouTuber,
be a
you
blogger,
can be anything.
travel the world.
Be a fucking macaroni and cheese chef.
Yeah.
You could be a fucking, turtle shell painter, whatever. You could make money off of anything.
You can be a podcaster.
You can be a podcaster,
look,
yeah.
So we were just talking about Jimmy.
I wish we made money off this. Yeah.
I know. So Jimmy's a perfect example. What's his last name? I never really knew his last name. You said it earlier. Jimmy Corsetti.
Oh, I didn't know who you were talking about.
Jimmy Corsetti.
Oh, yeah, from one of the recent episodes of Joe Rogan.
Yeah, his YouTube channel is Bright Insight, which I've been following for quite some time, and I love the dude because I love history and ancient stuff like that.
Ancient civilizations.
Yeah, so like
ancient Egypt.
I've always found his topics interesting, but he's a perfect example of somebody who heard his story, worked at Target, whatever, wasn't happy. Like, forget that. I just want to teach people and learn and do something interesting that I love. Boom, start posting videos on YouTube. Now he's on the Joe Rogan podcast. He's made like that. His life is set now.
He's got like 1 million followers or whatever.
Set,
yeah,
dude. Like he's set. But it purely came off of.
And he's doing what he loves.
Exactly. It came through his passion and being able to find something to where he can make money doing his passion, and it's like that's what made him happy. That now he that's what made him happy. But it's like I really love like where we are right now though. Like, I mean, with all the negatives of technology, like I really hope this podcast can, I don't know, even if this podcast doesn't successfully launch, hopefully we can take these tools, not launch, mainly make money, because I would love to make money on this, right? Like
I would love
to
it.
be, right?
It'd be
It would
great.
be awesome to
what
do
if
something.
this was our only job?
Right?
What if we just did this for money?
But it's like, it's not like we're just laying back, not doing nothing. We're still I mean, we're still taking things that we've learned in life. We're taking things that we've learned, thought about, and now we're like we're putting it out into the world and seeing what people think. And maybe some people take inspiration. Maybe it does something, right? But we're creating, right? And so hopefully we can take like these tools and these skills we've learned into other areas and fields of our lives or whatever, wherever it is.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be technology. It can be just maybe with friends and family. It can be anything, right? But hopefully we take like these skills and one day like be able to make profit on it, because like that's one of my goals too. Is like, especially recently, I've been thinking of like, man, I hope that like I can eventually make money doing something like this, where I find, because I have so many topics I love, and I just want to express them all, but I don't know how to express them. But this seems like the best platform. It's like a podcast where we can just talk about whatever we want.
Yeah, you have no restrictions.
And I can express all of the love of topics I have, and so it's like, and I just brought that up to say, like, that's one of, like, it's not really a purpose of mine, but more of like, this is a way where I can express myself in a way that's going to make me feel fulfilled and live a fulfilled life. Right?
Yeah,
so
definitely. Like, that's one of my main things is whatever I'm doing in life, I want to make sure that it, like career-wise, whatever I'm doing in life, I want to make sure that it like fulfills my soul and my ambitions. I want to be doing something that, not that I couldn't find a way to be happy if I worked in a fucking pencil factory or some shit. But I mean, like, I want to do something that makes me happy and smile and just feel good when I'm doing it. And just something that really, piques my curiosity and my desire to just have an intellectual aspect to what I'm doing. So.
And you always want to keep it 55th.
You got to keep it 55th Street. Absolutely. Because, sitches out here be crazy.
All those custas.
Yeah, that's right.
That was an inside joke.
Whatever you want to do in life, just make sure you're not on some Custer shit, all right? Everybody, shout out to Crip Mac. But, no, even if this show didn't make money, I've gained so much from it. Like, all right, this has got to be like, what, episode 40?
Yeah, we're getting up there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like 10 of those episodes are probably just you and me, and then like 30 of them are with guests.
Yep.
And I've benefited a lot from the episodes with you, of course. But the episodes with guests...
You said you've been offended?
No, I said I've benefited.
Oh, benefited.
Yeah, and I've been offended.
Offended.
No, I have benefited from the episodes with just you. But the episodes where we have other people that I've never talked to before, people that you've never talked to before.
Totally.
Dude, I've learned I've learned a lot just talking to you, but I've learned so much from the guests that we've had on this show that even if this show never makes a fucking dime, I'm like, I would do a million more episodes just because, one, it's fun, I feel fulfilled, I learn a lot. It's great to just sit down and fucking talk to people. And I'm really glad that we're doing it, and I hope we keep doing it forever.
Yeah, I hope so too, man. It's been great for me too.
And I hope that, there's like a positive ripple effect to this. Maybe somebody else hears this, and they get the idea to start their own podcast, or they listen to this while they drive to work, and it makes their drive that much better, and they go on to have a good day that day, or whatever.
Dude, let's reflect for a moment on the guests we've had. Daniele Bolelli, man.
I know.
What a fucking awesome dude.
I know. I want to get him back on. I don't know if we can make lightning strike twice. I don't know if we can get him twice, but
I see him on Instagram all the time posting. I love his posts on Instagram.
He looks like he's really living well right now.
For sure.
I saw he was like on vacation with his family.
Chef Declan Horgan.
Chef Declan, amazing, amazing man, amazing chef, amazing human being, just a ball of goodness. Fucking Mr. McKinney.
Mr. McKinney.
Legendary Houston historian. You know what I mean?
Anthony Sosa.
Anthony
great friend of
Sosa.
mine, and just like
brilliant
doing
mind,
some crazy shit
beautiful
right now.
soul,
and who hopefully we'll have on during closer to Christmas.
Yeah.
So hopefully
absolutely
we'll get him on
in
soon.
person.
Yeah.
Marcus, who could go on to be one of the biggest NFT creators, that the internet is. I mean, we've had some really fucking. Jesus.
Oh yeah.
Jesus just got
man.
a shout out on Instagram from Saab Systems.
Oh.
Or no,
hell yeah.
not Saab. It was another
awesome.
manufacturer. Dassault. Dassault makes a lot of airplanes. They make a lot of different systems,
Is that
but they
German or something?
Dassault, I believe, is.
Where are they from?
They're like
Swiss,
Scandinavian or something.
I don't even know where that is. But anyway, sorry, I didn't.
Let me show you
But
this
yeah, man.
fucking plane they make, dude.
So we've done some awesome stuff on here, and living out our purpose, man, living out our dreams. So
that's right.
the
people that made this
has been
fucking
fun.
aircraft. I mean, look at that fucking thing. The people that put that aircraft together shouted out a guest
That's
on this
sexy.
show. I know. He designed this toothbrush for people with really bad arthritis.
Yeah, I remember. I saw that.
And they put it on their page. And so it's just like, we've exposed people to some amazing minds. Marcus Ballard, who has his own podcast, and, he's doing his own thing. And we've just had people in here who I feel like people could benefit greatly from listening to. And that's another reason I want to keep doing the show, to get as many fucking cool-ass people on the show as possible. And it's only up from here. We really need to try harder to get, like, cool-ass guests like Daniele and stuff like that again. But I'm just excited to see where it goes, man.
Yeah, next week, hopefully we'll have another guest on.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll figure something out.
And we'll keep it rolling, man.
Keep it 55th Street.
If anyone hadn't seen that, please go watch this video by, Channel 5?
Yeah, Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan.
Channel 5 Andrew Callahan. Tom put me onto that dude. He's freaking hilarious.
It's like probably, if you know All Gas, No Brakes, it's the same guy, Andrew Callahan. And I think he's making some of the best fucking videos.
Dude, they're awesome.
On YouTube.
They're so good.
So, yeah, that's your daily suggestion. Anything else you want to add to this?
No, man. I thought this was a great show. I love talking about this. Hopefully we can do some. Let's do some more similar shows like this where we'll just pick a topic.
Yeah.
Like Purpose or whatever.
Yeah.
And we'll just go off on it. Just run on some tangents and have fun doing it. Because I feel like these conversations, I feel like bring a lot of like deep think. Like we have to think a little deeper on these topics. You know, it's not like these aren't just obvious answers to these questions, right?
Yeah, we're not observing like objective facts. We're not coming in with like, okay, well, let's look at this fact. No, we're just talking about like how we feel.
Right.
So we have an email address. What is it again for the show? Midnight Variety Hour at Gmail?
I believe it's midnightvariety@gmail.com.
Okay. Midnightvariety at gmail.com. Write us in questions like that, you know, like, oh, what happens after you die? Whatever.
With the MIDNIT instead of the regular spelling of midnight.
Oh, yeah, correct.
So make sure you get that.
Yeah, NITE, just like the title of the show.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, thanks for listening. We took a week off, and I appreciate you guys coming back to listen to the show. We're going to keep it going. We're going to keep it 55th Street. And so, yeah, live life with a purpose. Try and make the most out of every day. Love the people around you, and just have a good conversation from time to time. And stay safe out there in the cosmos.
Peace.